Well, up at Nobles Hospital, it's another press conference, this time with Dr. Matt Todd, about renal services. That's kidneys to you and me. It's an interesting briefing you've given us. I mean, I didn't realise the numbers are huge on the Isle of Man. Massive.
Yes. I think one of the problems with kidney disease really is that historically we didn't look at it very much. And when looked at, then the number of people with some degree of kidney impairment, and that really isn't kidney failure in the vast majority of cases, but it's about 10% of the population, so about 8,500 people on the island, which is a lot of people.
Now, you're fairly new in this job, right? Things weren't good then, I'm taking it. You've had to come in and firefight a bit, get this up and running better?
We're not unique, really, in that kidney services have been developing across the West in medicine over the last maybe decade or so. On the island, we had a dialysis service, and prior to the Department of Health's renal framework, we didn't have a nephrologist, and they appointed a nephrologist, that's a consultant in kidney medicine, as a locum initially, and then moved to appointing me full-time just last year. So it's taken a bit of time to get here, but it's not particularly unusual, actually.
But there's big pressure on your services. I mean, you've had some new machines donated recently up in, is it Ramsey?
Yes, so Ramsey District Scottish Hospital, we've got a new satellite dialysis unit to enable us to give dialysis to patients who live in the north of the island nearer to their own homes. Dialysis, the hemodialysis treatment, which is coming in and having the toxins and waste products cleaned out of your blood, most patients need that for 4 hours a session for 3 sessions a week. So it's about 3 half days a week spent on dialysis. And particularly patients who have to travel or had to travel to Nobles for their treatment, that would take up just an awful lot of their day. By the time you've been picked up, come down, waited, been put on the machine, had your dialysis, been taken off, waited for your bus fare home, and then make it all the way back, you've lost most of the day, basically. So being able to do things nearer to patients is one of the advantages of Ramsey.
So you've got enough machines now? Have you got enough staff? I mean, the budgets are kind of under control. You've got a new position in a sense.
Yes,
how they funded this?
The funding for the opening of the new unit was done largely through a charitable bequest from the Scott Trust and some other charitable monies as well. So that was paid for outside of the Department of Health budget. And running the service is no more expensive there than it was here. We had to dialyse these patients anyway. They were all rather crammed in together at Nobles. We were running 3 dialysis sessions a day, 6 days a week, and we're at completely full capacity. It gives us some more room. It gives the patients some more room and to a lot of degree some more privacy as well, because they're not sort of dialysing elbow to elbow with each other. And the cost of doing a dialysis treatment, which is expensive, is basically the same. So it's not costing us any more in our renal budgets to have this new service at Ramsey.
What's causing this big increase? Is it lifestyle? Is it just we're living too long? I mean, are there suggestions as well you can make to people watch this not to end up on these machines?
I may not be the best person to talk because I'm overweight myself, but the biggest thing really is avoiding diabetes. Diabetes is the biggest cause of advanced renal failure requiring dialysis, and actually of kidney disease of all sorts that we see nowadays. And that's new. I mean, that's developed over the last 15, 20 years. It used to be that diabetes was a relatively uncommon cause of kidney failure, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And a lot of the growth in kidney patients has been through people who've got diabetes. Maybe not diabetes on its own, other things like blood pressure, other lifestyle things like diet and exercise, smoking, the really basic things do impact on your kidneys as well. Essentially, blood vessel health is the same whether it's preventing heart attacks or preventing strokes or preventing kidney damage. Blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, diet and lifestyle.
You've come from a much larger organisation. I think 2 million people is your sort of area. Now you're down to 85,000. So I'm guessing you haven't got quite the same resources, but have you got enough? Should people have confidence in the Isle of Man's National Health Service in your area?
Oh, certainly. I mean, where we don't have things that we're available to do on island, the classic thing being kidney transplant, we have very strong links with our regional renal and transplant unit, which is at the Royal Liverpool. But in terms of dialysis treatments, acute kidney care, chronic kidney disease care here on the island, we do 100% of that ourselves. We look at our service to ensure that we are performing as well as any UK renal unit, and we are. So I can be very confident about saying that. We have a lot of patients, but when I was in a unit with 2 million people, there were quite a lot more nephrologists around as well. So, you know, a lot of hospitals this size would not have their own in-house nephrologist. They would have a visiting nephrologist who dropped in one day a week. And so we've got an opportunity here by having me on the island basically 24/7 to make sure that we've really got our fingers on the pulse of kidney care right the way through, from identifying kidney trouble early, managing it as it goes along, preventing people developing complications of kidney disease as time goes by, or treating it if they do.